Hi, my name is Michael Feinstein, and I'm here at the Los Angeles Women's March as part of the amazing women's marches all over the United States. And I think the question to be raised today is, should women have representation on all levels of government, and should women's issues, and of course there are issues specific to women, and then there are broad issues that are also women's issues, but should all of those issues really be on the table and be heard? And I think most people here today would say yes. So I'm running for Secretary of State in part to ensure that more women have a seat at the table of our democracy, because our current electoral system itself makes it harder. And it's great that there are all these people organizing now and trying to get more women to run around the country, and there are clearly going to be capable, talented women that fit their communities and make sense to be elected officials, and that'll happen more around the country, but it's going to happen way too slow to be in proportion to just how many seats women should be holding around the country. So the answer, in part, is to change how we elect people. And there are systems of proportional representation where countries that use those systems have much higher percentage of women in their state legislatures and in their federal legislatures. And we could have that here in this country too if we change the way we elect people, so that instead of electing one person at a time, you elect many people at a time, and if 20% of the people hold a given set of views and values, they're going to get 20% of the seats. They're going to elect 20% of the seats. So when we look here at this amazing, just an amazing event here in LA today, there are so many women here who should be leaders in our government, leaders in how we govern ourselves going forward, and should spring out of this movement here. And we're going to get some of that through our current electoral system, but we should get much more if we had a more fair system. A lot of the people who supported Bernie Sanders in the last presidential election don't realize, because it wasn't part of Bernie Sanders' campaign, but the countries that have those socially based policies, like universal health care, for example, they have systems of proportional representation. That's in part how they got those issues passed, how they got those policies passed. And our system, because we have these big single-seat districts, they're up for big money. It costs a lot of money to run. Obviously having just a small number of seats favors big money as well, makes a small number of people very powerful. Part of what I'm proposing for the state legislature is to go to 500 seats, so that we have the chance for the state legislature to actually mirror the diversity of our state and have it look like our state in all the different ways of how people are, all the different types and classes of people who we are. And if we have a larger legislature, we can do that. And I want to use proportional representation to elect half of those seats, and then half of the other seats will be much smaller districts, and we elect people there by ranked choice voting, which is another cool idea where you get to rank your choices. And if your first choice doesn't win, your vote goes to your second choice until you elect somebody. Anyway, so those are a couple of really cool electoral reforms. They should be part of the discussion for Secretary of State this year. They should be the major media should be quizzing the candidates on that, because so many people want better representation in our country, don't feel represented by the status quo. But when they're trapped within this kind of lesser of evil dynamic, think about the presidential race we had in 2016. More people voted against the two major party candidates than voted for them. So it's important to raise these issues today. Today, here this second Women's March, and all the amazing energy that's here. It would get turned into political power much faster in a more fair democracy. And in a time now where our democracy is so threatened from the current administration, we have to envision going entirely the other direction. When the pendulum swings, let's go for proportional representation. And that's why I'm running for Secretary of State, to bring that message home. Michael Feinstein, Secretary of State, June 5th election. We love LA.